Right, today I'm talking long irons, long approach, hybrids, fairway woods, breaking 80, how to shoot in the 70s consistently. We've got stats showing you what you're doing. I've got answers. This is based on our podcast series, which did really well, the Hack It Out Golf podcast. If you're not following it already, give it a follow. Let's get you breaking 80. This is long irons edition, the tough one. When we look at the stats from Arcos from this longer distance, 175 up to 225 with a few stops in between, the stats are what you kind of would expect. We find this, if you're struggling to break 80, this is a tough skill. And the tips in this video hopefully can just get you hitting the odd extra green here and there to give you a better chance of making that score. So your green success between 175 and 200 yards for the person struggling to break 80, it's 17.3%. For the person who shoots in the 70s consistently, it's 30%. It's a huge difference. And then we go from 200 to 225 yards. The person struggling to break 80, 8.6%. The person who is shooting in the 70s consistently, almost 17%. So it's a real noticeable difference. Hopefully the tips in this video are going to really help you get these numbers shaved down more into your favor. Remember, if you can't keep up with all the videos, because we've got links to all these videos in the description below, my podcast, Hack It Out Golf Podcast, has this series as well, extensive, helping you improve these scores. So this part of people's golf bags often is really undeveloped, unfitted. There's so many things you could do at this end of the bag that could help you. So I stop at a 6-iron and then I go into 2 hybrids, then up to my 3-wood. You should be having the general rule, more hybrids in your bag that do the tasks that you need them to do. Lots of people at this yardage, they're going to hit weak off to the right shots. Hybrids are quite good at drawing because of the way they're set up. Making sure you have more hybrids than irons in your bag for lots of people watching will just totally help them at this top end. Now, I understand if you're a long iron player and not a hybrid player, that's fine. This doesn't apply for you. Keep enjoying your long irons. But for the majority of listeners, absolutely getting this end of your bag tighter will help you. Another thing to do at this end of the bag as well is try and get your clubs to blend. So my 6-iron can run into my 22-degree hybrid, my 22-degree hybrid can run into my 18-degree hybrid, and my 18-degree hybrid can run into my 3-wood, meaning that they can all go the same distance. They cross over, they blend this way. Similar to what I would do down with my wedges, and hopefully lots of you are doing with your wedges and with your irons. I can hit an easy 7 the same distance as a hard 8-iron. They blend. What lots of people do when they get up at this end of the bag is they have some massive gaps, like huge questions are asked, and they don't have a weapon often to get the results they need. When it comes to improving your action, your swing, trying to make sure you're getting the most out of your swing in this department, bearing in mind we know how tough it's going to be, I see far too many golfers using lofts that are too strong for the speed when it gets up to this top end, fairway woods, hybrids, longest iron, and then they can't get the ball up in the air very easily. So what they end up doing is they end up trying to sweep the ball up where they bottom out the club very early. They move away from a downward attack with the club and they start trying to bottom out and get up at the ball. This just creates duffs and fins. So when you're looking at this end of the bag, if it's your hybrid, it's your fairway wood, you need to be able to hit down at the ball, still feel like you're almost de-lofting the club, and it be able to pop up in the air. Otherwise, you're having to change a technique that functions with mid-irons into a long irons or hybrid technique that's now harder and tougher for you to hit. And the way you do that is making sure you've got enough loft on that club. If the loft isn't enough for you to launch the ball for the speed you put in, you will instinctively, all golfers do, start changing how you swing at that ball, and that's often why people struggle at this end of the bag. Then the last point with this end of the bag, I think for lots of people trying to break this score, I do see, certainly when we get in a few funky lies, a little bit of semi-rough or not the best lie on the fairway, they do a 9-iron swing with their long irons, meaning they kind of swing, you know, nice relaxed speed like they do with a 9-iron. But again, the trouble is, unless your lofts are perfect, the ball just starts falling out of the air. It doesn't get enough launch and spin to stay up. It tends to just drop, which is why lots of people often find when they get up the top end of their bag, like their 6-iron and 5-iron, if they got them, go the same distance. If you want to get the most out of these long clubs, you are going to have to play, like lots of you do with your driver, a more committed swing. It needs a certain amount of hitting, a certain amount of speed. You've got to commit to striking these. If you don't, you're going to find that they do fall out in the air, and what we see a lot in gap testings is golfers at the top end of their bag, just you start getting so many clubs running far too far into each other, so going the same distance, not overlapping, they basically go the same distance. You've got wasted clubs in your bag, you haven't got the weapons you need to get round, you're not going to break that 80 score. Make sure the lofts allow you to hit on the way down. Make sure you're allowing yourself to put speed in so you can get that ball launching to get the most out of these, to give yourself every chance of breaking that 80 score. Now, if you want to find out how to improve your driving in distance to make sure you're breaking that 80 score, this video is going to have all the answers.